Evening, ladies, and welcome to week 4 of our empowerment series. And tonight we're going to be talking about creating massive breakthrough with the fabulous Angel Balachowski. And I will give it over to you, Angel.
Thank you so much, Amanda. I appreciate that, and I appreciate you guys being here. Hope you're having a great Monday. I don't know about you guys. I don't know if it's the same across Canada, but we just came out of spring break last week, and I can't say that I'm disappointed because it was kind of nice to have some time to actually do some things today. So I am in Winnipeg. For those of you who don't know me and maybe haven't been on, and this is your first webinar with us, it's awesome to have you. My name is Angel Balachowski, and I'm a mom of 2 over here in Winnipeg, working full-time from home with my business, and just it's my passion to do online marketing and direct sales, and just to help women create incredible incomes from home, and just have situations that change for them so that they can create that breakthrough and help with mindset and help with any tools that you need. So this is really my passion, is helping women, helping moms, and just sharing what we know and being that environment for each other that encourage each other and lift each other up. So thank you so much, Amanda, for creating that for us with the group that you have, because I see that group and there's so many fantastic women in the group, and sharing all the time that it's so good to see people encourage each other. So today we're going to be talking about creating massive breakthroughs. So last time we talked about really getting over your past, really, getting through that thought process and changing how you think, changing how you talk, and going through. I don't know if you saw the recording or not. If you didn't, I encourage you to go back, because there's the secret mirror method, which really helps you to mentally be able to start that process of creating that breakthrough. It's that defining moment where you can now move on from anything that you were attached to, where now you can step into these steps that I'm going to show you tonight, where you can actually start creating that breakthrough, where now you've got that belief in yourself and that confidence in yourself, where you can now move on and into this life that you want to create for yourself. And again, and I said it last time, I think women are limited in the way that they're told, or made to feel like they're limited in the things that they can do in the life that they can create, right? That we're made to feel guilty if there's this big life that we want to live, or we're made to feel guilty if we want to do something else other than just raising our kids and taking care of our family. If we want to have some sort of thing that's our own, or we want to create something. We're all creative, and there's always something coming out of us. I mean, women are the most creative creatures on the planet, right? And so there's generally something in us that is always stirring and wanting to come out, and that's really what last week was about. But this is really breaking through that thought process of thinking that you're being selfish if you want to do something that's for you and that you're creating for your family. And most women in the direct sales industry, we all started because we caught that vision, right? And we caught that dream, or we saw the possibility of what was there for us to create a future. And that's why the women in this group that I see that are so many leaders, and you're going after it no matter what. And you're creating these businesses, and you're sharing your business, and it's day in and day out of doing the things that you know is necessary to build your business. And so today we're just going to go through some steps that will take you further than you ever imagined in your business. And these are steps that I've gone through myself. This training comes from my friend Brian Finale. He is one of the masters at creating breakthrough. His story is incredible. And, this is something I went through with him, and it changed my life. And, there's not just when I learned it from him. There's been things in this training that I've been doing for a couple of years now, but they have really given me that breakthrough, and I know that they're proven to work, because there's actually a lot of people that I know that also have had breakthrough with doing these steps. So we're going to go into it here and start talking about the steps that you need to take here. So we're just going to move. Now, there's some things that you need to believe, and this stuff may sound hokey at first. When I first started learning this stuff, I kind of didn't get it. I thought, wow, these people think kind of a little bit different than I do. And some people are at different levels of their personal development. A lot of direct sales, personal development, and the things that we read and listen to in the audios are to teach us about a bigger life, and how, the law of attraction and all of that, right, of how you can actually create the life of your dreams, because most of the leaders who have gone on to do what we want to have these stories of how they dropped their past and they decided that enough was enough and they went after their dreams, and their thought process created the life that they wanted to have, right? They were able to see themselves as this person, as this top earner, and that's how they got to it, and they went after it with a relentless fury because they knew they could create it. And so in your journey of personal development in this industry, and maybe you have started or maybe you haven't, or maybe you're midway through and you're just starting to learn these things, but I've started this process about 2.5 years ago, where I realized that a lot of what we create in our life is actually because of the way that we think and the way that we talk. So last week was about verbal. This week it was a lot about thoughts and a lot about how you can visualize what you want to create. And we've gone through creating a vision for your life, which is a little bit different than this breakthrough series, where it's more about goals and it's more about your thought process and it's more about fixating your thoughts and your belief in who you are on who you actually want to be. So the universal laws that you need to believe in if you are going to take these steps is that thoughts absolutely become things. We've seen it with lots of people, lots of examples. I'm sure there's people in your own companies where, if you persistently think about something, if you think about it, you fixate on it, it's something that you just can't get out of your mind, you're going after it no matter what, and you're able to visualize the outcome in your head, eventually that is what is going to happen in your reality. And we need to believe that all potentials exist for everybody, that you have infinite potential in your life to create absolutely anything that you want. And that's going back to that belief like we talked about last week, where we used to believe that anything was possible when we were kids, that we could create anything. We lose that belief as we go through the mental habits that we pick up and that we're taught. But you need to then release that and go back to that believing that you literally could create absolutely anything of your dreams right now from this moment, and that everything is energy. So if you understand that everything is energy, that just means that the things that you want are operating at a certain energy, a certain vibration. Maybe you've heard it put that way, where if you operate at a certain vibration and match the vibration of what you want to bring to you, that you will actually create that for your life. And when I first heard that, I thought, well, how in the world am I going to operate at a different vibration? Like, I didn't get it. I didn't understand. I thought it seemed like I thought I was going to have to do some weird meditation and that it was all part of that. But what it just means is that in your mind, you become so much of that person that you want to be, so much of that life that you want to have. You become so excited about what you can create for yourself that you literally feel the energy in your body increase. Like, I don't know if you've ever been in a room and increased your energy, or, you just decided that you were going to get yourself out of a bad mood and just were like, you know what, just enjoy life, or, just be happy with what you have. And you know how you feel that energy lift in your body? You actually feel energy increase in your body. That's what it is. It's operating at that higher vibration that's going to draw to you the success and the dreams that you want to have come into your life. And, it's hard to always operate on that level, and that's why we're going to share some things here tonight that are going to help you to operate at that level. It's hard to just say, oh, operate at a different vibration and draw the things to you. Well, how in the world do you do that? And that's what we're going to talk about tonight. So if you have constant focus, mental rehearsal, and meditation and goal setting, you can create all of these things in your life, and that's what we're going to be talking about tonight. So I'm just going to move over my screen here for the webinar. But if you can actually constantly focus on the life that you want, if you can make it a fixation for yourself, and if you can mentally rehearse the things that you want to have happen in your life, just like with the vision where we talked about reading that out at least once a week, where you're focused on it, and if you then set the goals that you need to do to get there, you will create that life. So you've got to allow yourself to become the person that you want to be. And that is, sometimes hard to do, hard to realize, but you've got to start thinking like the person that you want to be. And I see, especially in direct sales, some of the best people that I see do that are like Beachbody coaches, right? Because Beachbody coaches go out and they take a program and they change their body and they become that awesome coach that they want to be in the process of becoming that coach that they want to be, right? They believe, they've seen their body start to change, and so that builds their belief in themselves, and they start to feel better almost even after week 1, right? Where you start to feel better when you're losing weight, you see your body changing, you're getting better nutrition, you're helping people lose weight, like you become that person. So I think they're a great example of people that become that person. or even with Amanda, with her business. She's in organics right now, and I see her becoming this really organic mom, right? You know, she's sharing her product, she's sharing what they're doing, she's, you know, doing videos about it. And not only that, but I see her becoming the leader that she's always known that she could be, but I see her now believing that in herself, and I see her leading her team. And it's just, you know, you watch people evolve and start to believe in themselves and act, not act that life out, but just become that life, right? Become that belief that you know that you can be that person. And so if you can create the future in advance with your goals, that's what we're going to talk about tonight, is that you can actually write down your future and write down what you want to have happen and meditate and focus on that and have that constant focus, and you'll be able to get there. One thing you want to know is that thought is more real than your circumstances. A lot of times we're living day to day in our circumstances, and we're allowing that to control our thoughts, right? We're always, especially as moms, we're always focusing ahead on the next minute, the next hour, the next couple of hours. What's after supper? What does my list look like? We're always living in our circumstances. You've got to be able to take some time during your day to be able to focus your thought on the things that you're creating, the joy that you have being present in your life, and those kind of things. Not always thinking ahead to the future, and definitely not allowing yourself to go to the past, but just to enjoy those moments during the day and really have that gratitude in the moment. And a lot of people want a certain thing when they feel a certain way, and that's not going to work. So if you want a happy life, if you want a life full of love, if you want a life full of, you know, wealth, if you want a life where full of freedom, or, you know, being able to be home, but you're not at all feeling any of that emotion, if you're feeling completely opposite, like, you know, a lot of us during the day, what do we say to ourselves? You're a loser, you're, you know, you're not worthy of anything, you're always screwing up, you always say the wrong things, you're a horrible mom sometimes, right? Like, I mean, we can beat ourselves up for anything. And so a lot of times we live in that emotion in our day when we actually want something else, but we've got to start to realize how we can take our emotions and actually put them in line with what we want. And that is one way that you can bring your vibration up, realizing and dropping those horrible thoughts that you have about yourself. And we had talked about before about keeping that thoughts journal, and hopefully you've gone through that exercise and been able to eliminate or at least identify a lot of those negative thoughts that you have during your day, and be able to correct them with proper thoughts so that you can bring into your life the things that you want. And one thing that you don't want to focus on, and this is a great thing that Brian shared, was there is cause and effect versus cause and effect. So a lot of times we are reacting to what's going on around us, right? And so because of the way that we react to situations, or because of the way that we're even, you know how you can tell, your mind will tell you stories about what other people are thinking about you, or what other people, you know, we live in that reality, and so we allow that to affect our day instead of using our emotions and our thoughts to actually affect our day. And I'm sure all of us have had those days where when you wake up in a great mood and you've been able to, just for whatever reason, maybe something great has happened in life, maybe things look like they're turning for the better, or you just have had something happen that has just caused you to feel awesome. And you know how those days are just the best days ever? And it's because you're in that constant excitement and that constant happiness, because you have a joy in you that you can't, nothing's going to bring down, because you're in such a good mood, right? Whereas days where we're not, where something's happened that is completely the opposite, that can totally affect our day in the way where we allow whatever's happened to affect everything around us. It ends up totally affecting people in our family. Our kids will act differently. I don't know as moms, but I've talked to quite a few moms where however mom is feeling is how the rest of the family is feeling, right? If mom's in a great mood and she's positive, generally the rest of the family's doing pretty well. But as soon as mom's in that, you know, mode where, you know, if things are getting done and people are going to do what she says, or she's just in a bad mood, that tends to also be the effect of our day as well. So it's really just being conscious of how you can affect your day, and that your day actually is in control by you. And your goals will find you because you start actually being that person. Because when you start being the person that you would be if you had the things that you wanted, they're going to actually find you. And it's funny because I myself, was very self-conscious, and I talked about this last week, where I was self-conscious and, had very little belief in myself, had no clue if this was ever going to work out for me. But once I changed that belief through personal development, through mentoring, through having the right mentor come into my life who totally believed in me and built me up, then I was able to start believing in myself. And it's funny because that's all of a sudden when the perfect opportunity came into my life. That is when things totally started changing in my business. That's when things totally started changing about how I felt about myself. And that's when things, like I said in the vision training, my vision board for my downline, I had drawn it out 3 years ago, and that's what I'm creating now 3 years later, because of my belief in myself and because I started to become that person that I knew a top earner would be, because I believed that I could be that person, and because I stopped telling myself that I was something else. So once you start allowing yourself to be that person, those goals will absolutely find you. And that, of course, all ties into confidence. Confidence is one thing that you need to absolutely have. People feel your confidence, and confidence is going to affect how others treat you. And we know that, right? When you are confident in yourself, people around you are not going to feel like they can take you down. They're not going to feel like they can challenge you. It will actually repel people who would generally try to come against you and bring you down, but it's also going to draw people to you because people follow somebody who's confident. So what would that ideal person that you want to be with your goals, that ideal life that you want to create, what would they do or say in certain situations, right? That's what you've got to be thinking when you're handling a situation right now. Now, tomorrow, when something happens in your life, and generally, even if you would act out in anger, you would shut down, or you would start to believe things about yourself that aren't true, what would that person who already is a top earner be thinking? They wouldn't allow those things to affect them, right? If you were financially sound and you had freedom and you were living the life that you want to live, then you wouldn't be reacting in anger, right? You would have that confidence in yourself where you knew that you didn't have to act like that. And we tend to be small and allow other people to intimidate us or challenge us, especially in the beginning of our business, or if we haven't created that success that we want. And so if you're not in that place yet that you want to get to, chances are right now you're allowing some people to walk over you because you don't have that confidence and belief in yourself. A lot of times confidence doesn't come until you start creating it for yourself. But if you can actually allow yourself to start to believe that you're worthy of that confidence now before you've even created it, because you believe and know where you're going, then you're going to totally affect your world around you in a completely different way. And that, again, is something that I did for myself as well. I always used to handle situations where, once people started challenging me on MLM, or, asking me about how much I made, or, what kind of success do you have, or what are you going to do for me? I would scramble and I would give them everything that I thought they wanted to hear. I would let them bully me and talk to me and put me down, and I would always be defending myself. And, that is not what you want to be doing. I have discovered that when people ask you what you make in this industry, that's a really rude question. So if you're not making money and you get challenged by somebody asking you what you make, you can just say to them, you know what, I don't share that with anybody because I can't guarantee that you're going to go out and do what I'm already doing. And so I can't say to you that you're going to create the same income as me because I don't know what kind of an effort you're going to put in. So I can let you know what you can make based on effort that you might want to put in, but I'm not going to share with you what I'm making because I can't make any guarantees on income. And that will shut people up. They won't ask anymore. And they don't have the right to ask that to you. We never walk into an interview in the corporate world and say, well, how much do you make? Well, before I let you hire me, how much do you make so I know what's possible, right? Like it's a crazy question, but people do it because they want to have control of us. And even just recently, I mean, I had this guy, we do some Craigslist ads that work really well for our team. And I had a guy respond, and he, at first he wanted me to call him, and then he asked if it was MLM, and then he just started cutting down MLM. And where I usually would have went into defense mode, I was like, hey, if that's how you feel, that's totally fine. I'm helping people make money, and I feel good about what I do. And he went in deeper and deeper, and I just kept on bouncing back, right, and bouncing back and saying, you're not, what, if you're going to try to make me feel bad about MLM, there's no way, you're not going to do it. And then he actually said something along the lines of, I bet a solid buck you would take any money from any poor, desperate person that believes that you could create income for them. And I just put him in his place, and I said, I absolutely would not. There's a lot of people that I wouldn't work with, especially people with poor attitudes like yours. And then he came back and started asking about my business. And I said, why are you asking? And he said, well, because now I'm thinking of joining. And I just said to him, absolutely not. You're going to have to find a different rep to accept you. Thanks. No thanks. But before, I would have before, in my total desperation, probably allowed him to get information from me, get information out of me from my business at that time, because I would have been so desperate for a sign up. That my self-worth was so low that I would have allowed somebody like that to then come into my business, which is ridiculous, but I know that mentally that's just where I was. And so allow yourself to have control and confidence in yourself. Even if you don't believe that you have the success to be able to be that person, just let yourself be that person, because even if you don't have the success, you have the vehicle to get there. You know where you're going. You know that in however many years or months or whatever, you're going to be at a certain level and you're going to become that person. And when you fully believe that that's who you're going to become, you can start to carry yourself with that confidence now. And that's what you want to be putting out to the world. And your results are going to be fully dependent on the confidence in knowing where you're going and who you are, because your intention that you bring to your conversations, if you're coming out of confidence and actually wanting to bless somebody or actually wanting to help somebody, if you're coming with that type of a confidence into a conversation, it's going to go wonderfully. Whereas if you're coming out of that desperation, like I spoke about, or if you're feeling like, your income depends on this person and, oh my gosh, if they don't sign up, what in the world am I going to do? This is another no. Totally changes the conversation and the results. So practice your confidence, even if it means having some role-playing conversations with your upline or with your family where you just nail down what you would say. Have them come at you with every single objection that you get in your conversations, because we all get them every single time. Somebody has an objection. The people that are negative will come at you with something, and you need to know how to react to them. So practice it over and over and over again. I know it's not something that's generally fun to do, role-playing, but it works. And so that practice, or even just practice in conversations, start doing cold calls and make yourself get through it. That's one thing that I did a couple of summers ago. I did like 200 phone calls to make myself get over it, and it worked. So there are things you can definitely do. Now, this is something that I learned from one of the courses that I took a couple of years ago, and it really helped me to define who I was. And the question that we were given in the first section of that course was, who are you and what do you stand for? And we were told to write out what that is. And knowing this and keeping this in your mind and reminding yourself of this a lot throughout your year will help you to keep that anchor to your confident self and to that person who knows where you're going. And when I first tried to answer this question, I really didn't know. I didn't know who I was and what I stood for. It took me a while to understand it, and as I went through the process, we went through quite a few different series in that course, but once we came to the end of it, by the end of it, I realized that I was a loving, spiritual, and faithful mom of two, and that I stood to support moms in the industry, or moms who wanted to be home with their kids, and that I was there to support them in that choice, because a lot of times we get beaten down in this industry. We get beaten down for wanting to be home with our kids. We have friends who don't get why we would want to do that, and it's out of jealousy or it's out of just not understanding, but a lot of times we're left alone. People think that we're being rejected and that we're being able to bounce off, but a lot of times we feel alone. And so I realized that I wanted to support those people that felt alone in this industry and support the moms who made that choice to step out of the box. You're out of the box leaders, and so you need to be supported and rooted for and cheered on. And so that's who I decided that I was. And that's really when my business changed too, because I've been an internet marketer for about 2 years now. And about 6 months into that, when I started to realize who I was and what I stood for, I was able to draw the right people to me, right? And that's who I've been able to draw into my business as well. And I was able to become that top executive that I always wanted to be, because I was drawing the right people to me and the people that I wanted to work with. So take some time to write that down and figure out who that is for you. And when you know who you are and what you stand for, you're going to be able to relate that to people in your conversations, because nobody's going to be able to say anything to you that's going to take away your belief in who you are and what you stand for. And so when people actually come against you or the industry or what you're doing, because you have already put into your mind and into your subconscious that this is who you are, you're going to be able to stand up for what you believe in. You know, you're going to be able to say, and that was, remember last week we said, watch me. Like, you know, oh, you don't think I'm going to do this? Watch me. And that's when you're going to have that confidence to be able to just take anything that comes against you and not allow anything to affect you personally, because you know why you're here and what you're doing. So we're going to get to the goals section of this. And it's going to be a 90-day goal. Now, if you guys create a 90-day goal right now, do you realize it would take you into the summer in massive momentum? A lot of times people are scared of the summer because they think that business slows down and people get lazy, and a lot of people do, but it's also still a good time for business. But if you can set up your business after a 90-day spurt of really setting some great goals and going after them, you can create huge momentum and breakthrough. And if you can think of yourself from now to 90 days, if you actually reach those goals, which you absolutely can do if you put your thought and intentions into it and believe right now in this moment that you can be that person that you want to be after those 90 days, think ahead to those 90 days and how you're going to feel. Your confidence is totally going to change because your business is going to have changed, and you're going to have a momentum going into the summer where you're not going to need to worry about whether or not business is coming to you in the summer, because it's just going to automatically be flowing into you, because when you create a momentum in your business, that's just what happens, right? And then you can go through your summer and you can have a great summer, and then you can go ahead and do another 90-day goal in September and do the same thing and set yourself up. A lot of people get lazy in that time around Christmas time, and if you can do a 90-day sprint in that time, then you can have a totally different business in, what is that, like 9 months from now. So the first part of setting your 90-day goal is, what do you want? And it's writing this down. So you're actually going to be writing down your 90-day goals. So by X date, I am, say, a $5,000 per month earner, or whatever you want that to be. So set it for 90 days from whenever you're going to start this 90-day run. How much do you want to be making per month? And these are just ideas. I mean, whatever you want to create for yourself, whatever goals you want to have. I mean, you know your business, you know what you're doing. Some of you might not be in direct sales at all, and you might be having, you know, a service-related business or a coaching business. So really, where do you want to be? Or by X date, I have helped 10 people create $1,000 per month residual incomes. Or by X date, I am 20 pounds lighter. Or by X date, I can do X with my money. So have a goal for your money. You know how you hear when, like, if people are quitting smoking or something, people will say to them, well, put that money away and treat yourself. So have something that you're going to treat yourself with your money. And for some people, that might be something you're going to buy for yourself. Maybe it's going to be something you're going to do with your family in the summer. Maybe it's something you do with your money that you've wanted to do for a long time, like give to a charity or support something, or, you know, be able to write that big check for whatever it is that you want to give to. But have a goal for your money that you're going to create. Just one thing you're going to do. Even if it's like just treating your family out to dinner and a movie, which can be a super expensive thing for families, right? But if you just have something you're working towards, it makes it a lot more fun to be able to do that. And then the next part of your goals is, why do you want it? So write down the reason why you want to create these goals. And maybe it's more than one reason, but why do you want this? And this is your fuel for going after these goals. So write this all down. Take a look at it every single day. So it might be that you want to quit your job and just be home with your kids. You might just want to pay some bills or help people, change lives, have more energy or feel better, increase your confidence and belief in yourself, or even just show your kids that anything is possible, right? So it's those things that you can write down that actually is your inner, you know, when you feel yourself get excited. You know how you can hear somebody's voice change when they're talking about what they're passionate about? Like, I can be coaching a woman in her business, and we can be going over, you know, her branding or her target market. And I've had a lot of people say, well, I don't know who my target market is, and I don't know what to be doing and what to be putting out there and who to be going after. And I'll just simply, I say to them, well, what is your story? And they'll start to tell me their story, and I'm like, well, how do you want to use that in your business? And then they start to talk about what they want to do and who they want to affect and who they want to bring home, or, you know, those kind of things. And you literally feel their energy change. You hear their voice get more passionate. You hear them get excited for what they're doing. It's like it rekindles that reason why they got into the industry in the first place. And so write down something that does that for you. That is like, man, this is why I'm doing this, because I've always wanted to do this, or I've always wanted to just, create something for myself. Or like for myself, it was always that, after my dad passed away from cancer, I wanted to be able to do something to honor that. So I have small goals that I've achieved that way, and I have huge goals that I want to be able to still do for that. And that really, for me, just like, that's my inner passion, is to be able to just give my money wherever I want to give it, right? And of course, be financially sound, and just, have that freedom. And it takes work to get there, but it's so worth it. And so if you set these goals for yourself for the next 90 days and use this as your fuel to get there, it will really help. And then the third thing is, who do you need to become to reach this goal? So that's, again, talking about that person 90 days from now who's reached those goals, that person who's at that 5K per month income, or that has helped 10 people reach $1,000 a month goal. I mean, $1,000 a month can change a lot of families' lives, right? $1,000 extra a month in a family's pocket is a huge amount. Generally, that's all of their utilities, right? So having that kind of a goal and being that kind of a person, how would you feel if that was actually how you affected 10 people's lives? So what would that person act like, or talk like, or walk like? I mean, this was something I noticed for myself, that when I was walking in defeat, or, in the beginning, when you start in direct sales and you don't create that success, you almost feel like you're weak, or like there's something wrong with you, and you made the wrong decision, and everybody who's working is pointing at you saying, why are you doing this weird thing? And you start to like come into the room a totally different, weaker person. You walk differently, you feel bad about yourself. Totally change that around and walk and carry yourself as the confident person who is going to create their dreams, and who people are going to be like, wow, I had no idea that they were actually going to do what they said they were going to do, and wow, I wish I could have done that too, and look at what they're doing with their life. And how would that person treat others? People who have that kind of success treat others with absolute love and respect, right? Most people. I mean, everybody's not perfect, that's for sure, but most people who have been able to put their thoughts to what they want to have and have been able to achieve their goals because of their thought process are really great people. They're really people who understand that it's about what you put out into this world is how you're going to get treated back, and what's going to come back to you. And generally, with the blessings that you put out, you're getting tenfold back, right? And so it generally, people like that will overall treat people in a much more respectful and loving way. And how does that person think? Again, if your financial burden is gone from you, or if you're able to do things that you were never able to do, or if your family looks at you as like, wow, you achieved your dreams, I'm so proud of you, or your parents are proud of you, whichever, how does that person think about themselves? Pretty good, right? They're pretty confident in themselves. And so their thought process isn't going to be taking them back to the days when they were struggling, or back to their childhood when their parents told them they couldn't do anything, because all of a sudden they're living that life where they have achieved that. So that person thinks a lot different. So you've got to become that now, and you've got to allow yourself to be that person now. For myself, one of the things that I needed to do to become that person was totally become way more organized. I was a free spirit kind of person, and I didn't like to schedule my day. And it's funny because I'm an action taker, and I'm very dedicated to what I do, but I was not organized at all. And so I needed to become a way more structured person, and realize that I needed structure and a literal hour by hour schedule for my day if I was going to create success in this industry, because otherwise I was spinning my wheels just trying to figure out what I needed to do every day, and didn't know, because I wasn't writing down what I was doing, and wasn't keeping track of my results, and wasn't keeping track of my prospects or my follow-up, right? So I needed to become very more organized, and sometimes that might be who you need to become. Or maybe you need to just stop thinking that others are better than you. A lot of us walk around with that thinking, and I don't know why, and I don't know if it's because we're always comparing ourselves to other moms or other women, or looking at what they have and their so-called perfect life, or whichever, and just kind of carrying yourself believing that others are better than you, and that you are somewhat of a lesser person. So you may need to stop that thought process. Or maybe you just need to love more and worry less. We can go through our day worrying so much about what if this happens, or, what if I can't fix this, or what if, what if, and we live in that instead of just getting rid of that, dropping that worry. You can't worry about things that haven't happened yet, because you're literally just wasting energy on things that don't even exist. And when you actually fixate on things that don't exist, but they're actually things that you don't want to have happen, unfortunately, that does tend to draw those things into you, right? Your thoughts become what you're thinking. And so if you're thinking about these horrible things that could happen to your family or that could, happen to your finances, and that generally will draw you down and keep you from reaching your goals. So it's really just figuring out what type of a person you need to become. And then the fourth thing is, how can you get it? So how do you actually get to this point of that 90 days? And hopefully all of you have a way right now. Like, do you have the vehicle to get there? Are you right now in a position where you can just start working right away to get there? Or do you know where to find it? Do you have some friends that you can reach out to? I mean, if you're in this group, you can reach out to people and figure it out. But do you know where to find the ability to be able to get these 90-day goals that you're going to set for yourself? And you absolutely want to know how to make money in your business. And I know that might sound obvious, but there's a lot of people that I've coached, and even myself at points in my business, where I knew that if I worked hard enough and got results, I'd eventually make some money, but I had no clue how the step-by-step process worked of making money in a couple of the companies that I was in. And there was one of them that I was in that I actually knew how to make money, and I knew that it was a lot of effort to do it, but I kind of believed that somehow there was some like silver lining where if you did something, all of a sudden there was extra money that would come in, regardless. So it's funny because you see people making money and you just assume that if you work towards it that you'll make that money too, but you need to know how to break that down so that you can break down your goals and break down exactly what you need to do. So if you need, 15 people on your team in order to make X amount of money a month, then you need to know that that's the case. And then you can set your goals to be like, okay, well, I need to recruit 15 people in these 90 days. So that's 5 people a month. Okay, so if I want 5 people a month, I probably need to talk to at least, if you recruit at 20%, what is that? That is, what is that, like 25 people, right? So you need to talk to 25 people and do 20 presentations in order, or 25 presentations in order to get that 5-person recruiting. And so, yeah, it's just being able to break that down. If you don't know those things, just go to your upline and find out what that is and make sure that you are well aware. I never encourage people to study compensation plans, because if you become a compensation plan person who knows everything about it, then you tend to share that with people and really confuse them. So don't get to that point where you're always talking about the compensation plan, but just know how you can make money. And then so from here, for 10 minutes a day, once you have focused on getting those goals down, once you've written everything out, then you're going to want to focus for 10 minutes a day on the emotions of reaching those goals. So it's not affirmations. It's not reading it out and saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. You're just focusing on the emotions. And I know 10 minutes in your day can be a lot, but if you can do this, it's really going to help you to reach those goals. I know it from experience. I've seen other people do it, and that's how I realized that it works. I've got a friend who's a 7-figure earner in the industry, and she swears by this every single morning in her business. It's something she does every single day, and I have seen her create her 7-figure lifestyle, and she's going above and beyond that this year. So it absolutely works, and if it's something that you can allow yourself to give yourself that time to be able to just set that there and make sure that you're doing that. Make it a priority. It's only 90 days. I mean, 10 minutes a day for 90 days isn't too bad, but the thing is, you'll get into a habit where you miss it. You'll notice in your day if you haven't done this. And so it's just going to become a part of your day, and you're going to love it. It becomes that part of your day where you're just able to, it's almost a de-stress, right? It's allowing you to live in that emotion and realize that things are okay. You're going into this amazing life. 90 days from now, things are going to be completely different, and it's going to totally change the way you feel. And as you start to go towards your goals and you start to have some success, halfway through those 90 days, your emotion is going to be a lot stronger in those 10 minutes, because you're not only going to be feeling what's coming, but you're going to have that belief in yourself as well. And then start each day off with being grateful. Declare each morning that it's an amazing day. Like every day when you wake up, and I was not a morning person at all, so I did not feel like doing this in the beginning, but declare that today is an amazing day. Every morning when me and my kids come downstairs and we open up the curtains, we say that. We say it's an amazing day and we are blessed every single morning, and it starts our day off with, even if we've been cranky with each other before we've got downstairs or the kids are fighting, when we have that like 30 seconds of like that perfect time in the morning, it is so wonderful. So if you can just start your day off that way, it changes it. And then expect amazing things all day. And that is huge, because if you go through your day expecting awesome things to be coming and being like, when you start your day being like, wow, I wonder what awesome thing is going to happen today, or I wonder what amazing thing is coming my way, or what door is going to open for me today, or what opportunity is coming towards me today, or who's joining my business today, those kind of things, when you expect those, you're drawing them into your life. And again, that may sound hokey and it may be like, oh, I don't want to do that, but it works, and it's just the way things work. It's the way life works. And if you go through life with expecting those things, you will have a totally different life and a totally different day, and just it will change so much for you. One thing you want to know is that the person that you have believed that you are is not who you are, because we beat ourselves up daily, either over things that we've done, things that people have done to us, things that have happened in our life, things we wish we could change, regret that we're carrying around. For some reason, we live in this past a lot that we live over and over and over again, that doesn't even exist anymore, that we can't change, and we allow that to control our days. So if you haven't, like I say, go back to the last training and do the secret mirror method and drop that past and that belief in anything that you're telling yourself about who you are that is not building you up, and believe that you are worthy of this incredible life that you want to set for yourself. One thing I highly encourage is sticky notes. Sticky notes are huge in my life, and you know, they're all over the house. When people come to my house, they just kind of look at me with this look, but they're everywhere. I have them taped to my cupboards in my kitchen because that's where we are a lot in our life, right? And so when I'm cooking supper and I look at my cupboards and I see one of the things that I'm declaring about myself or my business, then I can feel that emotion when I'm reading it, right, and be like, right, that's who I am, and it really helps. So don't be afraid of sticky notes. We could start a new trend of having sticky notes all over the house. One way that you will fail with your 90-day goal, or not one way, the ways that you will fail with your 90-day goals is if you're not consistent. So if you don't make the 10 minutes per day a priority in your life, then you're not going to remember what you're doing, you know, or if you're not consistent with the actions that you need to take on a daily basis to be able to get your goal. So if you want to have 5 people in a month and you've got to do 25 presentations, well, that's an average of almost 1 a day. So are you at that? You know, if you're not consistent with what you're doing and creating that momentum, you won't get to your goal. Another way you will fail is if you don't believe that you're going to succeed. If you believe that this is just a bunch of steps that you're just going to try and see if it works for you, but you still totally don't believe that this is anything that's going to work for you, then you will fail, and it's probably just not worth it to even start. Another way you will fail is if you still keep on allowing your past to control you. So if you go through that exercise and you don't drop everything and you allow yourself to start talking and feeling those emotions again, then it will keep you in that same mindset where you're not going to believe that you can create this. Or another way is if you're addicted to overwhelm, unworthiness, sadness, or fear, or if you're looking for negatives daily. And we all either know people like that, or some of us might be that person. For some reason, our brain is trained to look for negatives. Like for some reason, as we're brought up, we're trained to be in that overwhelm. Like, you know, I have somebody very close to me who just can't get out of that cycle of fear, of you know, worrying about things, of sadness. I mean, there's been things that happen in their life that is really sad, but it's like they cling to it now, and it's like I just want to break them from that cycle and say to them, you know, get over this. But there's just some people that are addicted to that, and that just can't break it. It is like an addiction, you know, to alcohol or drugs. For some reason, some people are mentally addicted to feeling upset and feeling like they don't deserve to be happy. And so that's really where you need to break yourself free from that and allow yourself to become that person that you want to be. And so hopefully you can go through these 90 days. Now, the to-do, this is kind of a fun one, is to write yourself a check with a date on it for when you can cash it. So whether or not it's 50,000 or 100,000 or a million if you want to go crazy, and put it in your wallet. So your date can be 6 months from now. It could be your 90-day goal. It can be a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, whatever you want that to be. Only you can decide what that is for yourself. And then just write out a day in your life for that day when you can cash that check. So how do you live in that life when you are that person, when you're able to cash that check? So what does your morning look like? What's your morning routine? How do you spend your day? Where are you living? You know, how does your family feel? What have you created for yourself? What have you been able to do? What are you enjoying? What are you proud of yourself for? Those kind of things that will really help you to just kind of attach yourself to that future date. It will really help you, you know, when you set an intention in your mind, you don't need to really worry about how it's going to work out. Once you've decided that that's what you're going to be able to do on that date, and you believe it, and you write it out, and you write out that day that you're going to cash that check, it's just going to magically happen, because all of a sudden your subconscious believes it, and it's going to go to work to create that for you. So hopefully you're able to go through this with a real positive outlook. I mean, if anything, what I say to people when we go through mindset training and, you know, they're giving me that look, or I can hear it in their voice that they're like, okay, I just say, you know, like, commit to even 1 week. Just see if you feel any differently after 1 week. Just do these things, do these habits, do the goal setting. You know, that's not going to hurt you to set out your goals. And then just for 7 days, focus on it for 10 minutes and make sure you're doing the actions that you need to do to get there. And then, you know, call me back and see how you feel. And 100% of the time, it's like, wow, I didn't realize, you know, what an effect that would have on my life, that I really can create what I want, that I really can use my emotions to create. Or, you know, even if they haven't maybe had any business results in those 7 days, it's like, you know, my life just feels differently. My family's been happier. I've been happier. I feel like a weight has been lifted off of my shoulders. I feel more positive. I feel like things are going to be okay. You know, and that, for me, in that moment when I started to be this person, I just knew things were going to be okay. And I mean, I've got a strong faith myself, so I put a lot of that, you know, a lot of that leaning on God for myself, and, you know, that maybe or that maybe not. And if you can do that, then great. But if not, just having that release in your life and being able to just be content with the fact that you know that you're going some huge places will take that relief. It just gives you a sense of peace, and it's an amazing feeling. And when you can live in that, that's why you want to do the 10 minutes a day, because it'll help you to live in that. It will help you to remind you of that, because we always go back to our old habits. It's just who we are. We go back to that thought process. And so those 10 minutes will really keep you grounded and help you to be that person that you want to be. So hopefully you guys can do these 90-day goals, and then we'll talk about them over the next few weeks. I think we've got like 7 or 8 weeks left, so we'll talk about them as we go. And so that will take us, that'll be 60 days, so you'll have 30 days on your own, and then maybe at the end of that 30 days, right before summertime, at the end of June there, we'll have like a webinar and we can share our results. And if you guys ever have a topic that you want me to cover in these webinars, for sure, just let me know, or put the suggestion in the group, or message Amanda and let her know what you want to hear about. But we're still just going to do some more breakthrough. And oh shoot, now I can't remember what I was going to teach on next week, but it was really good. It'll come to me anyways. I'll put it in the group. But this is recording right now, and so we will have this posted in the group later tonight for you guys. But we're going to get into more strategy for your business in the next few weeks. And like I say, I can't remember exactly what the topic was, but it was something. It's late at night here, so it will come back to me what it was going to be. But so we're going to get into strategy and maybe more recruiting styles. Oh, I know what it was going to be. It was going to be about talking about your target market and about how you can really find them online, and how you can start to attract that person to you just by the person that you are, and knowing exactly where you're going, and how actually having a more narrow niche is actually a good thing for your business, and just give you some training there. And if there's anything else that you want me to cover, because I'm pretty sure that probably won't be more than a half an hour training, let me know, and we can add that in there next week as well. So thanks for being here, guys. It was great to have you. I will bring Amanda back out, and unless if you're still, I don't think I ever muted you, Amanda. Oh, you muted yourself. Amanda, are you there? There you are. Sorry, I'm muting you now.
That's all right. Yes, I muted myself just in case I forgot that I wasn't muted.
Yeah, I know. I've done that before.
Thank you so much once again. This was really amazing, and this is something I think that everybody needs to hear, and especially, well, not especially me, but this is something that I need to hear for my own life, and I need to go over it, and I need to just remember this kind of stuff, because sometimes you think, oh, I want stuff, but having someone else tell you can sometimes help you, if that makes any sense. I'm probably just
totally
rambling right now. I was really excited. I got some feedback. It was so awesome. So
awesome.
Somebody messaged me and said, so thank you so much, Angel, and we can't wait to see what's coming up.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for having me do this, Amanda. I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys being on, and have a wonderful rest of your night. See you guys later.
Good night.